Hey guys, so today I wanted to help you book cheap flights. I'm about to book, or at least do the research for booking a trip to Puerto Escondido probably, or possibly Puerto Vallarta. So I'm going to take you through all the websites that I use. My favorites are Skyscanner, Kiwi, and I usually check Google Flights as well. And these are great price comparison websites before you head over to like the actual website of the airline to check if like they're sometimes cheaper. So yeah, let me pop onto the laptop and walk you through how I search for super cheap, or at least the cheapest flight options available and that sort of thing. Okay, so this is Skyscanner. This is absolutely my favorite website to use for looking for flights when I know exactly where I want to go. I'm going to start with a round trip flight. I'm looking to go to Puerto Vallarta, and I want to go. I know the date, so the great thing about this actually while I'm here is that if you're not certain of the exact date or you're like pretty flexible, you can search for the whole month. So I'm going to go in April, so I'll search for the whole month so I can find the absolute cheapest dates. So you just click search flights and it'll show you the departure price and the like return price. And I'm looking to go on the 2nd or 3rd. So I'll click the 3rd because it's cheaper, and then I have to be back. I should be back by the 8th, so I'm going to go to the 7th because that's slightly cheaper. And it searches basically every discount website on the internet. It also searches the website of the airlines. These are the airlines here. And the great thing is that it'll show you the best, which is in their opinion the best, as in it's either the shortest, the easiest, so there's not many changes, and the price of that. There's the cheapest. So often these prices are different, so the cheapest price isn't always the best, but in this case it is. So then you can look at the times of the different flights. It's super easy. This is how much the return flight will cost. I think that's pretty great. That's super low, but Viva Aerobus isn't necessarily my favorite airline. So if you click on that, you can open up information about the flight. You can see that it leaves Mexico City at 8:20. It arrives Puerto Vallarta at 9:50. If there were any layovers, that information would be here. Yeah, and it gives you all the information. And then when you scroll down, you can see what websites that you can book through. So it's obviously cheaper to book on one of these websites than it is to go directly to vivaaerobus.com and book through them. But I do also like to go to the airline and check just to make sure, because sometimes the airlines don't necessarily work with websites like these because they're budget airlines. So it's always good to check as well, just to make sure that you're not getting ripped off a little bit. So that's Skyscanner. I'll just do one more search for you so you can see how I use it if I know the exact date. So I do know that I want to go, the specific dates, so whole month or specific dates, that I want to go from April 2nd and return on Sunday the 8th. Search flights. And if you decide that actually, oh, well, maybe it'll be cheaper on the Monday or to return on the Saturday, you can change these without having to go all the way back and like redo the whole thing, which is pretty nice, I think. So you can see here that the best is more expensive. This is the cheapest, takes slightly longer, and then the fastest, which is obviously in the amount of time that it would take, is always going to be probably the most expensive. But sometimes they're all the exact same flight. So I usually like to end up on the cheapest and see if the times work for me. So that's the first website I go to always. If I'm looking for flights, this is always my first stop. The next place I like to look is Kiwi. Kiwi's great for a lot of reasons. It's great if you want to go somewhere but you're like happy to maybe land in a different airport, or you want to land in a like at different dates and stuff. So basically, I don't know why it starts me there, but Mexico City. And then you can literally, I mean, it'll look, the default is to look everywhere in the world. So you can see like super cheap deals. This is in pesos, by the way, sorry. I can change it into dollars for anyone that's confused. So it's super easy to use this website. I love it because there's a map here so you can see how cheap it is to fly from Mexico City to all these cities in the world. I think that's such an awesome feature. So if you're not sure where you want to go on your next vacation, you can put in your dates, you can put in your from city, and then you can literally just scroll around the world and see how cheap you can get to these different places. So, okay, so I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to search for flights to Puerto Vallarta. And I know I want to go on April 2nd and come back on April 8th. The nice thing as well, just to point out here, is that you can choose a date range. Like, so I'm going to leave between the 1st and the 3rd. You can choose pretty much to go anytime and return on these dates. So it really allows you to play around a little bit, which is really nice. But anyway, I'm going to go on the specific date, so 2nd. And then you don't even have to press enter, it literally just starts populating the information. So here, the flights are actually slightly cheaper by like $5. But obviously you can see there's loads of options, and similarly if you click, you'll get all the flight information, what the airline is, how long the flight is, and yeah. So this is the second option. The thing I like about Kiwi as opposed to Skyscanner is that you can literally book your flight directly on Kiwi, so it's going to take me through, and I can pay on kiwi.com. So there's no like messing around with being like moving around to other websites and stuff. Whereas with Skyscanner, if I book a flight on Skyscanner, it'll take me now, say I want to choose Flyfar, it'll take me to another website. So I'm now leaving Skyscanner and I'm going to a website called Flyfar, which I'm not really very familiar with. You know, I don't know whether my card's gonna be happy to use a website called like this, so it's, you know, it's a toss up for sure. And so it's one of the reasons that I do like to end up on Kiwi, as long as the flights are the same price or cheaper than they are on Skyscanner. And then the last website I use, just to sort of check sometimes, especially if I'm booking a ticket really far in advance, is just to see like what all the combinations are, because the thing that's great about Google Flights is that it shows you tons and tons and tons and tons of combinations, which other websites don't necessarily do. So these are gives you like the best options that are available. Again, I'm in pesos, but I'm not super familiar with how to change it on here. Anyway, so obviously you can see if you click on it, it opens up loads of information about it, and you can click on the flights and book through the website. So again, you're leaving the website. I never actually book with Google Flights, but I always just like to double check the prices of things. So like 2,200 pesos is more expensive than these flights are, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. But it's always good to check and just do some price comparing. So those are the three websites that I always use. No matter how far in advance or where I'm traveling to, I always manage to find really great prices on these three. I hope you guys found this helpful. I know booking flights can sometimes be really overwhelming. Even now, after doing it for literally years and years, I still get like nervous and like make sure that I get the right prices. But the other thing I just wanted to quickly mention was how far in advance maybe you consider like booking your flights. So when I fly internally in Mexico or I fly internally in the US, I generally book like at the last minute. It's usually like something that I don't really plan very well in advance. And I noticed that up until probably about 30 days before your flight, the prices don't change very much. So like if you booked 6 months in advance and then you book 2 months in advance, the price doesn't change very much. That's not true always. That's not like, you know, a fact, but it's just in my experience in the last couple of years, that's what I've noticed. But for sure with international flights, the further in advance that you can book, the better. I just booked flights to the UK for summertime, And this is the furthest in advance I've ever planned for like an international trip, but we know we're going, so I wanted to make sure we got the best possible price. So we booked the first week of February for July, and we got really great prices, the best prices I've ever gotten going to the UK. So I would recommend, depending on how far you're traveling, like, you know, the popularity of the time of year that you plan to go, like for instance going in the summertime when it's super popular to travel, to definitely book like 5 or 6 months in advance, because I know for a fact that in 3 months time I definitely would not get those prices, because I've booked this exact trip a year, like, you know, last year for the summer, but not well in advance. So I paid almost double what I've just paid now for February. So at least 4 months in advance, if not more. The like, I mean, don't go like a year in advance, that's crazy talk, but like, yeah, 6 months, I highly recommend it. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you use other websites, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. If you have other tactics for booking flights, that's cool, let me know. And let's have a little chat in the comments. Until next time, see you guys soon. Bye!